Well, today I will be interviewing Keri Mcguire, and we are in this lovely presidential library. Mr. Mcguire, welcome to Dallas Social Cafe.
Thank you.
You are an American businessman and a philanthropist, and very important to the Dallas community and the worldwide community, I must say. So, and I've been able to get to know you for the last year or so, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you. And I'm very thrilled to be able to talk to you a little bit about your background and about all the things you've accomplished, because they're quite impressive.
Well, happy to.
Well, let's talk first a little bit about your educational background. I know that you went to school at Landon and then
Yes.
University of Pennsylvania. So tell me about where you grew up.
Well, I was born in Ardmore, Oklahoma, Ardmore, Pennsylvania, which was the birthplace for Ardmore, Oklahoma.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when they built Ardmore, Pennsylvania is on the main line there, main railroad line. And when they built the railroads in Oklahoma, they named it at the towns on the main line.
Oh, okay, that's great. Well, I know Villanova's on the main line. I've been there, and
Yes.
and that's the Brandywine area too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's a beautiful country up there.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, you went off to Landon, which is a really prestigious boys' school in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And then from there, you went on to University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay, and let's fast forward a little bit. So now you have Mcguire Oil Company.
Yeah.
How did Mcguire Oil Company come about?
Well, my father had a company that made the Tommy gun during the war, and after the war, he invested in oil, and actually they moved the office from Wichita, Kansas to New York on a railroad, but the railroad blew up. And so then he opened the office in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Okay.
And I went from Palm Beach, Florida, where he had a house, to Wichita, Texas, as a bachelor.
Okay.
And I'd been on the Stork Club television show in New York just before that
Oh, how fun.
with Barbara Kavanaugh, who later married the mayor of New York. And so as I entered into Wichita Falls, Ye-O Stork Club of Wichita Falls had just burned down the night before and was still smoking.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, then from Wichita Falls, then you moved to Dallas.
Yes.
And tell me kind of what the focus is of Mcguire Oil Company. What focus of petroleum and the petroleum business do you
Well,
really?
we're in just the drilling and explored and only. No refineries, no gas stations.
And I know some of your children work with you as well. I believe your daughter works with you.
Yes, she does. I have three kids, two of which have PhDs. My son has a PhD in physics from Princeton. And my oldest daughter has a PhD in clinical psychology. She has her own practice in San Antonio. And the third daughter has a master's in business from University of Texas, and she's with our company.
That's amazing to have children that accomplished as well.
Well, yeah.
I know that you have, knowing you and knowing about you, that you've had a great, significant impact on the Dallas community with regards to philanthropy and just the culture of what you believe in. So let's talk a little bit about how you decide, we'll talk about SMU in a minute and ethics, but how do you decide philanthropically what you're going to focus on, what issue areas?
Well, I've always focused on education because I think that's the most important thing, next to health.
You and I have talked about education a lot and how you think that education is the most important thing in the world, and that an educated culture is the best culture in order to achieve long-term stability, whether it be for, I think, in my opinion, for a nation or for the world or for even a company ethically. So you are interested in the subject of ethics. You funded the Mcguire Center for Ethics at SMU, the Mcguire Center for Financial Ethics at American College, and Mcguire Chair in Ethics and American History at the Library of Congress. Let's talk about ethics.
Okay. The whole principle of ethics is to consider the pros and cons of your major decisions. And as this seminar said yesterday I went to, we all come from a different background, but we need to hear the other guy's viewpoint. And you're not going to hear the other guy's viewpoint if you think there's only one viewpoint. And but it's also causing financial ruin.
Yes.
The subject. I mean, the banks, I mean, just yesterday, 5 major banks were fined criminally with a criminal charge for fixing interest rates. Well, that's the first time in ever that the banks accepted a criminal charge. They've accepted a lot of non-criminal charges. Well, that kind of speaks to our time.
So these are the kind of issues that you would discuss at the Center for Ethics. And let me ask you a question. I was thinking when you were talking about that, how do you get people, you can debate two sides, but how do you get the other side to listen? And not just listen, but take into account maybe changing their ways or changing the direction. How do you achieve that goal?
It's not easy. But you have to sell them on the principle. I mean, we had a conference on ethics in sports, and we pointed out that you want to be aggressive, male, macho, and tackle, but not to the point where the guy has a concussion, who later can affect the brain.
Right.
And so that point was fairly easy to sell.
What do you consider to be the biggest problem facing the world today?
Jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
And explain, you mean the lack of jobs for individuals coming out of schools and...
Yes. The only jobs that people want now are educated jobs. And but everybody can't be have 5 degrees.
Right.
And so there's a lot of poverty in the world because nobody can get a job. So, and the government doesn't help any by putting all the restrictions on business. And an employee working for the government makes twice as much as a private job.
I didn't know that.
That's terrible.
So you taught me something new.
All right, well, good.
Well, you've taught me a lot of things new. That's just one thing. I've enjoyed our conversation today, Mr. Mcguire.
So have I.
Tell me, lastly, who is Keri Mcguire, if you could just sum it up, and what legacy do you hope to leave?
Well, I would hope to leave a legacy of that he made a little difference in the subject of ethics, and where he got people to try to think about both sides, and particularly before starting wars. And you know, it's going to be a long process where people change that thinking. And I heard an interesting thought yesterday. Psychologically, people need to have somebody to look down on. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So there's always going to be different classes. And that's probably due to that.
Yeah,
I mean, the
true.
kings want to look down on the middle class and so on. And but one of my favorite stories was with that picture over there between George H.W. Bush and Margaret Thatcher when she was in the House. And she told that story on Bush, that during the hostilities she called him and said, "George, this is no time to get wobbly."
No time to get wobbly. I like that.
Yes,
I like your accent too.
yes.
That's a fun story.
Yeah.
Well, I commend you on the work you've done in the area of ethics, and I know that that will continue on for many years, because I know SMU will continue that charge, and I thank you for starting that charge and for making us more aware, something that we need to be more aware of.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your time today, Keri Mcguire. Thank you so much.
I've enjoyed the interview. Thank you.
You're welcome.